Greetings, all. This is the November Dreamwave forecast with astrology and human design by Maten on the Plutonic Plains YouTube. And this month, I'm going to briefly, as usual, go over all the transits for the month. And I'll mix in some human design gates for the sun, so the solar cycle through the human design I Ching gates. To start off, I have to build or destroy. Only we decide which joy. This is the band. It's a metal band from the 90s called Last Crack from Minnesota. So ultimately, this month is a month of introspection, depth, and preparations. Now, we have many things happening this month. On November 2nd, the Pluto-Mars opposition will begin in gates 53 and 60. I encourage you to hold on to your convictions and not allow them to be turned into power struggles through the manipulations of others. We have a very powerfully releasing new moon in Scorpio, 9 degrees in gate 44 truth. And this is, I believe, on the second, or I feel it's the second of the month. Jupiter continues to create wide and shorter orb squares with Saturn. So remember to be selective, do not overdo things, and keep to a pace and an established, careful, calculated growth. November 19th, Pluto will return to Aquarius until 2044. This is very significant, and we will begin to see the full force of Pluto in gate 60. It will quickly move to gate 41 at the end of January, which will see the limitations we've been experiencing in such a way as to focus on what's correct for us, transmute and transform into a reduction of access to do all the many things we want to do. Ultimately, we will have to settle down and focus on one or two. Resources will begin to be limited while Pluto is in gate 41 for the next couple years after the end of January. We will observe this progressively. Mercury in retrograde will wander starting November 25th. And this will be in gate 28 or the one after. And this Mercury retrograde is about deep contemplation, bringing insights that can be put into utility and use near the end of the retrograde around December 14th, 15th. This month will be a time to mentally reset plans and preparations. There will obviously be tensions and chaos with the November 4th or 5th selections. Do not fear chaos. Interview it for available job openings. And employ these energies by allowing these energies to assemble themselves. Trust in your body's authority. Allow the solutions to flow in. Now, as the planets move through the sign of Scorpio, Scorpio, like Virgo, is very analytical. Its downfall is to be overly mental and overly caught up in fear. So, again, I underscore the guidance to trust in your body's authority. Solar transit of the sun through the gates and the lines of the mandala as they filter through and around through us. Sun for the new moon will be in gate 44, truth, know, now through the past. This is the knowingness that comes from recognizing mistakes of the past and knowing where to go with the energy at present. On November 5th, we have the sun moving through gate 1, the creative. Be what you are. Don't fucking care is a lyric by Godflesh, an old metal band. I think this lyric was in the mid 90s. Don't remember the song, but it's forever locked in my mind. Around November 11th, the sun will go into gate 43. This is the gate of insight. Listen and trust the inner self. No, not the inner self, the inner guidance. So gate 43 is the awareness that comes in. It's a projected channel. So when asked, this information comes through. The full moon will be in gate 23. This is Taurus, 24 degrees. This is conjuncting Algol, a fixed star. Knowing without logical conclusions. Logic crumbles here. This is a very slowly culminating full moon that does not carry with it the usual intensity. After all, it's in Taurus. On November 16th, the sun will move into gate 14. This is one of the gates of power. Love what you do, and the resources will flow through. Sounds like a cliche, the point being wherever you focus your energy is where the resources will come through. This is a gate about money and resources, so it's a good time to culminate goals that you had in mind. On November 23rd, the sun will flow into gate 34. It's another gate of power, waiting for your response of power. Now, power is not something, well, I always like to describe the definition of power through the full card in tarot, because no one can really hold on to power for long. It's a very unstable ground. And so the sun in gate 34 is going to give us power to, in response for what moves and manifestations we want to do during this time. And that'll be November 23rd to the 28th. On the 28th, the sun will go into gate 9, which is focus. Focus on the trees and somehow also on the forest. Now, this gate is known for being particularly over-focused on details and thus missing the larger picture, the larger forest. So the insight for this particular gate is to have your focus without losing sight of the larger picture. Now, during this month, planets will be in these general signs. The month begins with the new moon, so sun and moon will be in Scorpio. Mercury will go retrograde on November 25th and come direct on December 15th. Venus will move into Capricorn somewhere around the 11th. Mars will move into Leo on the 3rd. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune remain retrograde. And Pluto will be going into Aquarius. That's all I have for this month. Just the last reminders are Pluto will be opposing Mars, so watch and observe yourself that you don't get caught up in battles at least not externally. And retrograde will begin on the 25th. So the shadow will be about 2 weeks prior. So around the 10th, I haven't double checked, but somewhere around there. And I'm just checking to see if there's anything else I missed. No, overall, it's a contemplative month, um, especially if you can avoid, as usual, the attempts of media to gain your energy through its dissonance. So focus on the self. All right, take care. Hope you all enjoyed the insights.